Okay, 5.7, example 7 says we're going to solve 2 sine of x cosine of x minus sine of x equals 0. And so we've talked about this before. One of your favorite things to forget to do first is, can you greatest common factor? Alright, so if you can't algebraically solve this, because if I tried to add sine of x to both sides, it just really wouldn't make sense, because then I've got a sine of x on both sides. So we can't do that, so our thing is then the greatest common factor, because we notice both of these has a sine of x. And so let's take it out. If I take it out of this first one, then I'm left with 2 cosine of x minus, and if I take it out of this one, it's going to cancel, so I have to put a 1 there, equals 0. And then because we factored, then you should be thinking about your factoring rules. Oh, okay, well, I've got 2 things being multiplied, so let's set them each individually equal to 0. So sine of x equals 0, and 2 cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. Well, I can't do anything else with sine of x equals 0, but 2 cosine of x minus 1 equals 0, I can solve for cosine. So I'm going to add the 1, and I'm going to divide by 2. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and work the second one because it's very similar to what we were doing. Cosine of x is positive 1/2. We know cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and quadrants 4. And in quadrant 1, remember cosine now is your x value. So where is x equal to 1/2? That would be at pi over 3. And in quadrant 4, where is x equal to a positive 1/2? And that would be at 5 pi over 3. So there's the 2 answers for this part. But don't forget, we've still got sine of x equals 0 over here, okay? And unless you tell me that it has no answer, which it does, you need to go ahead and keep working on it. So sine of x equals 0. Well, this, if I wanted to make this into a fraction, that would be over 1. And remember, sine is y over r. The only time r is going to be 1 is if it's a quadrantal angle. So I'm going to have to look at my quadrants. So I need to know, where is my y value going to equal 0? Well, y is equal to 0 on the x-axis. So right here and right here. So we have x equals, on the right-hand side right here, the first number is 0. Then on the left side right here, that's at pi. Now, it didn't tell us how to restrict on here, but typically what will happen is they will tell you when they restrict it, they either put zeros less than or equal to x less than 2 pi, or they'll say 0 included up to 2 pi not included, okay? It didn't specify on this one, and the way it said at the very beginning made it appear to be that 2 pi was included, but most of the time it's not. So I'm not going to put that in my answer this time, but just letting you know, be careful on how they're going to do it. We're going to pretend that these are the directions, and in that case, this would be my answer. Now be careful on those then, because what I've seen in the past with y'all is you'll tell me that pi is an answer. You'll put 2 pi and you'll mark it out because you know it can't be. But guys, don't forget, 0 is in the same place as 2 pi, and 0 fits within our domain. Alright, so we still ended up with 4 answers on this one. There's 2 in each of my boxes. And that's okay because we had 2 different problems going on here in amongst this one problem. So there's our solutions for example 7.